Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. So in this video today, I'm going to share with you some of my overall experience with using the Pixapresso. We spoke about it in previous videos and we tried to do some comparisons in a very early time for the people who were eager to know what are the differences between this one and something like the Pixapresso that has been successful over the years. So in my video today, I'm going to share with you the overall experience I'm so far getting with using the Pixapresso for quite good time so far. So I'll start with how the Pixapresso is designed, okay? So the Pixapresso, as you can see, it's very obvious to everyone that it is a little bit squarish. So the square design of the Pixapresso gives it some ergonomic look for sure. But on the other hand, as a user, when I use the Pixapresso, I feel that it's a little bit big in my hand. And what I mean here is that in some cases, if the grind settings, for example, were a little bit fine, it will be a little bit hard for me to grab the Pixapresso in my hand and try to open the lower part because I don't get a full grip on it when I hold it in my hand. And this has been something that I have even spoken to Wacaco about it, and they said simply try to grind coarser. Yeah, this is a very easy solution from their end. Because there's nothing else that we can do to change how the case looks like, for sure, because that's the design of the product. I understand that. But as a user, I'm not sure if some of you have tried the Pixapresso or not yet, but the ones who tried it, did you try to go a little bit fine with the grind settings to see how your experience is with it? Since going coarse with it doesn't give good TDS in the cup, it makes the coffee feel a little bit like, light body on your tongue. And on the other hand, if you try to go coarser to achieve higher TDS in your cup, this results into facing difficulty unscrewing the Pixapresso for cleaning after the extraction. So I'll try to give you my overall feedback points, and this is not to criticize the Pixapresso, but just to share my experience as a user about how the Pixapresso has been performing so far with me. So it gives good coffee, yet I always ask myself why, for example, there is no space for this in the Pixapresso. That's the dosing funnel, okay? That's the only piece that you usually don't find where to keep it. So in my case, I keep it just under here like that. If I put it this way, so if I put the side that faces the basket like that, here, it will not stay inside, and this will always get the Pixapresso to, the cup to not to be closed properly. It will be easily falling in this case. So what I do is to try to find it the other way around, which is to put it here like that, and then hold the Pixapresso upside down and try to put the cup slowly. So this is how I keep it without taking extra space in my bag and at the same time not to open. But I always wonder, why is this the only part that is not hiding on the top like the rest of the parts, okay? So on the top part, as we all know, there is the cup, the small cup that takes the portafilter that you can use the capsule adapter or even the powder adapter like I do, and you can put the spoon here. So why can't we put this one or fit it inside this one also? Okay, they didn't make their mind to keep them together like that, like they can always fit together, but there is no space for them here. I believe if this was a little bit wider in diameter, maybe this would have been easily stored inside, so you don't worry about losing this one somewhere or falling or like losing it by mistake while you're making your coffee. So that's another point that I always think why it's the only small piece that is always outside of the Pixapresso. So another point that I also faced while I was making my coffee, because I use different grinders. For the time being, I'm using this one, that's the E55 from Starseeker, and I usually grind my normal espressos on my MaraX machine on more or less around 30-35 steps from the 0 point, okay? For Pixapresso, I go maybe around 40. Yeah, I would say 40 in most cases. I know that every type of beans would get a different grind settings, but I'm giving you the overall average settings that I more or less go around, okay? For the Pixapresso, I go around 50-55 in order to get a coffee that will not, give me any challenges when I try to clean the machine after using. So what I mean here is, if I use a fine settings, it will give me extraction, even if the pump will not make the high sound that it makes, and it will go a little bit, muted somehow, or the volume of the machine will be very low because it's struggling to push the water outside. But in the end, after extraction, okay, the machine will be screwed normally like any other machine. But the machine itself, when you screw this lower part here like that, this one is not very smooth in scrolling and in screwing in and out. So if you, for example, go for a little bit finer settings, there's no way for you to take out the water from the machine. So you will keep trying your best effort to screw this one out like that. It will not come out easily, and you will feel that the machine itself is gonna break from here, from this left side. You will feel that there is a little bit of sounds that the machine will make, as if it's two pieces of plastic installed over each other, and one of them is moving from place just by trying to screw this one outside to take it out. I tried other machines because my channel has been, like, recently I have been trying different portable machines, and none of them at all gave me that hard time when it comes to screwing the bottom part out. Even if the grind settings is fine enough or more than fine for what the machine needs, it should not be giving me a hard time to take this one out, okay? And what I mean here is, this is a rubber part, okay? This one is rubber. So this one will come out of that. So look at this part. This is actually, this one is just a piece of rubber over a piece of plastic, okay? So this piece of rubber will be coming out because of the amount of force I'm trying to apply by my both hands, using my thighs to stop the machine in place. And in the end, this one comes out, and remains is the plastic part that is even softer without the grip of the silicone part here. And in the end, the machine still doesn't open easily. I sent a video to Wacaco about it, and he said, you are using much finer grind than the machine can handle. That's why this is what is happening with you. However, the same grind settings I use with other machines, like, for example, this one, I'm just giving you an example. This is also a pressurized machine that we spoke about it in previous videos, and we can still do a comparison between this one and that one if you guys need that. And I see that here, for example, this is going very soft. See, even if I tie it very hard like that, I can still go harder if I want. And if I leave it like that, it will still give me the availability to just easily unscrew it if the grind settings are so fine that the water is not even falling from here. On the other hand, using the same with Pixapresso, if I try to tighten this one hard like that, it will be kind of impossible for me as somebody who exercises to take this one out of the machine. So this is, I'm not sure if I'm the only one who is facing this, which means that my unit has a defect in the mechanism. It has the threads of the machine, maybe. I'm not sure. If other people have tried or experienced that, you can just share with us in the comments, because that's something that was really annoying me so much, and I'm a little bit worried every time I use the Pixapresso outside. I'm not sure if it will give me a good cup of coffee, or it will be under extracted coffee for the sake of being able to clean the machine after the extraction. Okay, so that's another point that was a little bit interesting to me to figure out why it is happening. Another one that also I have faced with the machine is the use of the dosing funnel. Okay, so the dosing funnel is just designed to fit onto the portafilter like that, on the top of the portafilter, so you can always put your coffee here, and then you can then do the tamping and do the rest of the preparation, and then put your coffee and then extract your coffee. Okay, put your water, I mean, in the machine, and then extract your coffee. What I found out is that because the design of this one is made to just fit in here, this always results into like kind of a ring around the coffee that is empty out of coffee. For example, let's try to do that right now to show you what I mean. So I'll use a dose of coffee. That's, by the way, only 15 grams, not 16, because using 16 grams in this basket of the Pixapresso, in most cases, for someone like me who doesn't go for darker roasts, and even for darker roasts, it will give high volume for the coffee. It will overfill the basket that you cannot tamp it, and you cannot even install it properly into the machine. Okay, so if I use the dosing funnel to prepare my coffee like that, as you can all see, okay, I can use the spoon or even try to pour the 15 grams directly like that. And then you will be left with this situation. So the coffee is, yeah, it is within the boundaries of the dosing funnel, not spilling out. As you can see, everything's fine. But if you try to tamp it, you will be left with a ring around the coffee, okay? If you try to tap the coffee like that without tamping, okay, it will end up giving you some kind of a ring around the coffee that is empty, okay? This area is empty. If you tamp like that, you're over extracting your coffee by yourself. You need to keep on tapping here and there, and that is 15 grams, not 16, okay? So in the case I'm using 16 grams of coffee, I'll be left with a little bit small mountain over the top of the basket that is surrounded by an empty ring around the basket, okay? So by the time I try to tap it like that, the coffee will spill out around the basket and around the portafilter on the mat or on the table I'm using to prepare my coffee. So that is something that is really annoying. Why am I saying that? Because I have tried other machines that have simply designed this one in a different way. Let me show you what I mean here by that, okay? So again, this is not to compare a machine to another machine, but just to show you what I mean by my opinion. And I'm still wondering why Wacaco did not think of this kind of a design. So right now, we are having the wacaco Pixapresso and the wacaco dosing funnel that if we put here, it will go inside the basket, okay? Or it will go inside the adapter like that. However, on the other hand, if I have another design, let's say this is another design for another Chinese machine that is also made in China like the wacaco Pixapresso, but look at how the dosing funnel is designed. Look how smart this is in comparison to that one. So this one is designed to go inside the dosing funnel, the portafilter or the filter itself or the basket, while this one having a hole here that will fit in the basket of the machine like that, and at the same time, it will not make the ring around, okay, because it will simply fit in like that, and it will be straight wall from the inside, without any rings around the coffee. Look at how smart this idea is in comparison to the idea that Wacaco has adopted to make the Pixapresso and design the dosing funnel for the Pixapresso. So what is the added value that this one is adding when I make my coffee? Simply, I don't struggle with any rings around the coffee. It's gonna be a simple way to just tamp the coffee, and the tamper will go inside and come outside, leaving me a very clean basket after preparing the coffee preparing my coffee. On the other hand, when I use this one here, I always get to struggle with how to fill the gap around the coffee. So, for example, if I try to use the dosing, the tamper like that, this is what I usually get. Okay, so if I tamp it properly, I will have to still tamp all the sides with the spoon. This might be not very annoying for some of you, but it was something that is really annoying to me as a user, because we know very well that we have to make sure that the coffee is leveled in the basket, so that you don't leave a space for the water to extract more from the area that is weaker than the other areas in the basket. So the dosing funnel is a pain point for me, like the basket design itself and how it fits inside the machine with the threads that are a little bit hard for me to screw out if I try to. That's also another part that is a little bit painful for me. The square design of the machine, however, it looks very nice, yet it is a little bit challenging if you try to screw the coffee in case of the finer grind settings. That's also another pain point for me. That is a little bit kind of annoying for me. And finally, the dosing funnel that is not there. You cannot hide it inside the machine unless you figure out that you have to put it down like I do in my coffee. So right now I'm going to show you how the coffee will extract. That is 15 grams of coffee. ground at 48 steps on my coffee grinder. Okay, I usually go for 50 because I'm always worried that if I go finer, the machine will either release water from the sides if I don't screw this very hard. To give myself a safe exit in case the coffee is over, I can still screw it out. But in this case, I'm trying to do a finer grind and see whether this will really give me a good cup of coffee or no. Usually it goes very fast. In like 10-12 seconds the coffee is over. Okay, so I'll use a ratio of 1 to 3. So for the 15 grams of coffee, I add 80 ml of water, and this gives me around 45 or 46 grams of coffee in the cup. Okay. When I try to do the TDS checking, it is mostly around 6 point something. It never goes to the 9 like the other machines. Even if I do a 1 to 2 ratio, it lifts me with some challenges in the TDS because I go coarser. If I go finer, the machine will not open. This part will not open after I do the extraction. So let me show you how the extraction looks like and how fast it goes. So I have tried the heating function of the machine for quite some time, but not all the times, because I usually go for normal like heated water in my office or even at home like that. So long click here. I usually do pre-infusion when I extract my coffee with this machine, trying to extract more flavor. And that's how the coffee looks like. It's going very fast. The flow is very fast. In like less than 10 seconds, you really get the cup filled with coffee. And this reflects a coarse grind settings for sure. And if I try to go finer, believe me, I would try for like 30 minutes in front of the camera to unscrew it, and it will not get unscrewed easily. It will give me challenges. I'll sweat while trying to take it out. Okay, that's really something that is annoying me so much as a user. So like I used to think that this is gonna be my machine, my daily driver machine. I'm sadly saying that I either have to go for an under extracted cup of coffee like this that looks so nice and creamy, but the taste is sour, the taste is very light on my tongue, or either go with another machine. This is an expensive piece of kit that I was expecting much more from. Not saying that it's a bad one, still I like it so much. I love all Wacaco's products. I don't want people to understand me wrong, but I'm just thinking with you as a user, because we have been wiggling around with the Pixapresso for years and we got a lot of good results from the Pixapresso. People who have used the Pixapresso have been always satisfied in most cases. And one of them, I shared a lot of experimentation with Pixapresso over many years, and in most of them it was so successful machine. But I'm right now a little bit struggling with this machine because it is, I don't know, like the quality of coffee I get from this machine is not matching the Pixapresso's quality of coffee. Maybe it is a little bit lower quality since it's a pressurized basket in comparison to a non-pressurized basket. Maybe Wacaco should have gone with something like the Sierra machine that went for a 51 millimeters basket at least, that is interchangeable like the Pixapresso, but at least we get it here this time with a battery operation and heating function. Maybe it would have been better than going for such a design with a plastic basket and all that. I'm not sure, to be honest. So the coffee is tasting sour, and what I mean here by sour is, even if it's a 1 to 3 ratio, let me show you what I mean here. The TDS that is not going to go even for a 7. Okay, let's check the TDS together to give you an insight on what the result is. It's very light on my tongue. It feels like an under extracted cup of coffee, or a coffee that you added so much water to it. So this is a quick TDS result. It is giving 6.18. That is very like low extraction. It's not a high extraction. It's a cup of coffee that is weak in taste. I'm just wondering, because I'm somebody who has a lot of tools. I'm trying a lot of coffee. I roast so many coffees and I've been playing with coffee and coffee tools for years. So I'm not calling myself an amateur who still doesn't know how to brew a good cup of coffee. I've tried a lot with you over this channel, posting more than 200 videos and trying for years, playing with different coffee tools and grinders. I am sure 100% that I'm using the right settings and right steps to brew a cup of coffee that is really tasting good in taste and also in numbers, okay? So this is not still to fail the Pixapresso, but this is just to think with you in a loud way on like what my verdict overall about it is, and I'll still give it more time. I'll give it more comparisons against other machines that are, you know, falling under the same bracket to see whether really it gives a similar result to the other machines, or like the machine here is giving higher or lower result than the other machines within the normal range of the non-pressurized basket, or the pressurized basket like this with a lower quality or like, you know, a plastic kind of extraction instead of the normal metal ones of the other machines. I know it was a little bit long video, but I'm just, you know, discussing with you to see what your opinions are about this. Please share with me your opinion in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me whether I am wrong or right about these points, whether some of you are facing the same challenges I'm facing with the Pixapresso, or it's just my own issues but the other users are very happy about it. Or maybe if some of you have access to other machines like me, did you try to compare it to other machines? What your thoughts are? Do you really, or can you still justify the price differences? Are you able to find that, you know, having some settings here to play with, is it really beneficial to you? Or you just go like me without heating or anything, directly to extraction, long click to extract your coffee, and you don't mind about, you know, enabling or disabling any feature or heating the water or any of that? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.